Raghuvir had driven through floods and riots. But tonight, something was different. The forest had been the same for far too long. The signboard should have appeared 10 minutes ago. His hands trembled, not from age, but from fear. This road only opens, he whispered, when it wants someone. Ananya noticed it first. No network. Then, little Pihu whispered, "Mama, why are there people standing between the trees? They're smiling at me." Then, the sign appeared, painted in red letters that looked disturbingly fresh. "Welcome to and her village. No one leaves after dark." "I can't turn back," Raghuvir whispered. The village appeared, but it felt wrong. Houses stood crooked, lanterns glowed dimly. A bus stop stood ahead. No name, just a bench. The woman lifted her head. "I've been waiting," she said. Her voice echoed through the bus. Then an old man stepped off and vanished into the mist. Gone. The lights flickered. Darkness. A scream. And on the window, a handprint. From the outside. And her village. The village that borrows souls.
The scratching did not stop. It grew slower, heavier, deliberate, like something enjoying the fear inside the bus. Ananya pressed her back against the seat. Every scratch felt like it was being dragged across her own skin. Piu began to cry. "Mama, they're angry now." "This is your fault," Samir shouted. Raghuvir didn't argue. "I tried to avoid it," he said quietly. "But some roads don't let you choose." The bus lights went out. Complete darkness. Then voices, many of them, whispering names. Ananya, Samir, Leela. The woman in the black shawl appeared. "Give her to us," she said gently, "and the rest may leave." The mother screamed, "No, take me." Raghuvir stood up. "I made a deal once," he whispered. "I gave you my brother, but this time I won't give you a child." The engine roared. The road split in two, one bright, one dark. Raghuvir turned the wheel, toward the darkness. The moment the bus turned toward the darker road, the forest reacted, like something alive realizing it was losing control. The road beneath the tires began to pulse, like a slow heartbeat buried under the earth. "This road," she whispered. "It feels wrong." "It's always wrong," Raghuvir replied. The light stayed dim. An empty seat creaked, as if someone invisible was sitting there, waiting. Ahead stood something impossible. A gate. What is given may pass. What is taken must stay. The woman in the black shawl appeared. "You think you can escape?" she snarled. "This road only judges." "Take me," Samir said. "Make my life mean something." Then the darkness swallowed him. The gate slammed shut. The fog lifting. Sunlight pierced through the branches. The bus burst out onto a normal highway. It was over. "I won't forget," Ananya said. But the village was already waiting for the next story to begin.
Morning should have felt like relief. Sunlight poured through the windows, warm and ordinary, touching cracked seats and tired faces. And yet, no one inside felt safe. Raghuvir slumped forward, exhausted beyond words. His eyes were open, but empty. Samir's seat remained empty. No one dared to sit there. Survival felt heavier than death. Mrs. Rao broke the silence. "It's not over," she whispered. "No one escapes in her village. They only get released." Outside Anderpur, a shadow stood, human-shaped. Still, as if realizing it had been seen, it melted into the shadow beneath the bus. The watchers don't stop watching. Statements were taken, reports were written, but the story never sounded right. They let the world forget, so the road can stay hungry. At 2:17 a.m., her phone buzzed. "You promised. Tell them." Outside her window, fog pressed against the glass. A voice whispered, "You are making us famous." Far away, a new bus slowed. A child pressed her face to the window. "Mama, why is that woman waving?" And somewhere, deep beneath the road, and her village smiled.
The fog arrived before dawn, not gently, but crawling, purposeful. Ananya watched it swallow the world outside like a half-erased memory. Ananya watched it from her apartment window as it swallowed the streetlight below, inch by inch, until the world outside looked unfinished, like a half-erased memory. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Stop writing." She didn't reply. Instead, she kept typing. By sunrise, her article had crossed 1 million reads. Messages flooded her inbox. Vanished uncles, forbidden roads, smiling people in the trees. Different languages. Same fear. And her village had many names, but only one hunger. Mrs. Rao had been right. Stories didn't starve it. Silence did. At 11:43 a.m., the power went out. Not just for her, for the entire block. Internet vanished. Phones died. She wasn't alone. The woman in the black shawl stood in the corner, clearer than ever. "You are costing us," she said. "Do you know how many mouths you've closed?" "I hope you starve," Ananya replied. The woman smiled. "We don't starve. We adapt." Glass shattered. And then she was gone, leaving only a child's footprint on the wall. That night, the dreams changed. She stood at a nameless bus stop. A little boy tugged her coat. "Are you the one who tells stories?" he asked. "Then you belong to us now." She woke screaming, her arms covered in fingerprint-shaped bruises. Across the city, Kavita sat by Piha's bed. The child was answering voices that weren't there. At 3:11 a.m., Piha sat up. "They're tired of waiting." Kavita broke and called Ananya. "They want her back," she sobbed. "They already have her." Raghuvir appeared, soaked in rain. "They found me," he said. "I see the road in reflections, in mirrors. They don't want my life anymore. They want my silence." Ananya finally understood. Mrs. Rao was a watcher, a keeper of rules. She had returned to her post. And now she was coming for Ananya. The village was punishing. A bus accident with no survivors. A highway shut down. The village wasn't hiding anymore. Mass hysteria, the news said. But the roads told a different story. Then the final message. A video of Pihu standing alone in the fog, unharmed, smiling faintly. "Speak one more word," it read, "and she stays with us forever." This wasn't a threat. It was a contract. And the story, Raghuvir pleaded. "Save my child." Kavita screamed. Ananya looked at her laptop. Thousands of messages. Thousands of people finally seen. If she stopped, the village would feed forever. If she continued, a child would pay. Ananya began to type, but not a story. She posted names. Every lost soul. No drama, only truth. The post went live, and something screamed. Not from her phone, from the ground. Roads cracked. Signboards fell. The watchers lost their shapes. The woman in black shrieked in rage. "You were supposed to choose one," she screamed. Ananya typed her final line, "No more sacrifices. Only witnesses." The fog outside her window recoiled. The power of the village broke. Piha was found at dawn, alone, alive, but changed. She no longer saw the watchers. Something had been taken, her innocence. Kavita held her and wept. She was safe, but the cost was high. And her village did not disappear. It shrank. It hid, weakened, waiting, because stories never truly end. They only pause. Somewhere on a quiet road, a bus slowed. The darkness listened. But for now, the silence was broken. The truth had been told, and the village would have to wait. The world was watching now, for as long as we remember. The light returned, but the price was paid. Ananya closed her laptop, the names of the missing still glowing in the dark. The village is still out there, in the gaps between the stories. And her village. The price of silence is everything. Don't stop telling the stories, or the darkness will find its way back. Silence. The city woke up, but something was missing. Not electricity, not noise, but certainty. No one trusted roads anymore. Drivers hesitated before turning keys. Parents watched children at school gates until they closed. Bus conductors whispered prayers. And her village had not been destroyed. It had been wounded. And wounded things become cruel. Pihu stopped speaking 3 days after she returned. Her words simply ran out. She would listen to something far away. "She still belongs to the edge," Ananya said. Kavita glared. "You said she was free." "She is. But freedom leaves marks." Piha drew now. Endless drawings. Roads that twisted into faces. People with shadows that didn't match their bodies. And always a woman in black. But now the woman had no face. Ananya wasn't the only one noticing changes. Across the country, children returned with no explanation. They remembered nothing, but they behaved off. They avoided mirrors. They hated fog. They flinched at the sound of engines idling. They asked, "Why didn't you tell the story louder?" The world began to forget again. That's when the first body appeared, a bus driver, found seated perfectly in the driver's seat. His mouth was stretched too wide, as if he had been screaming or smiling. Carved in the fog, stories need endings. Raghuveer told Ananya the truth. "I didn't escape. I was released. I agreed to carry a memory that doesn't belong to me." The heart of Andhar village is a promise made when a flood wiped it out. The survivors begged the roads for escape. The roads listened, but demanded payment. Not blood, witnesses. They prefer children because children remember. Memories feed the village. Piha had almost become one of them, a permanent witness to a story that never ends. Ananya saw her reflection blink before she did. Mrs. Rao stood behind her. "You broke the balance. Stories haunt when unfinished." "They haunt," Ananya replied. "No," Mrs. Rao corrected. "They multiply." Someone had to stay behind. Someone who knew the story. The road appeared overnight. No markings. No signs. Just a single bus waiting. Inside sat the woman in black. "You were supposed to be afraid," the woman said. "I'm tired," Ananya replied. One witness to replace many. Ananya stepped onto the bus. It pulled away silently. As it crossed into the fog, the city lights flickered, then steadied. She became part of the story. A warning. Sometimes she whispers to drivers who take the wrong turn. "Go back." Piha started speaking again. She forgot the woman in black. But she never rides buses alone. Raghuveer moved away from roads. Kavita burns all of Piha's old drawings, except one, a picture of a woman standing between a road and a sunrise. People say and her village was a myth. They drive faster at night. They don't notice the fog gathering a little closer each year, waiting. Stories don't die. They wait for better listeners. If you ever find yourself on a road that doesn't feel right, walk away. If a woman in black asks where you're going, tell her the truth. Say, "I'm not part of the story," and walk away.
The first sign was not fear, but curiosity. Children across the country began stopping at roadsides, staring down empty highways as if waiting for something late. At a terminal in Pune, Mira stood at platform 3 every evening. "My bus is late," she told them. She screamed for us not to forget her. The pattern emerged. Children drawing buses with no wheels. Piha woke up screaming. She heard the lady who tells people to go back. Ananya had dissolved, stretched thin across roads that didn't belong to this world. She felt the children notice her first. They heard her silence. Then came Ishan. He asked the wrong question. "Why do you need us?" He knew they needed children because children grow up and forget. That is how the village eats. Ananya reached out, breaking the boundary. The woman in black screamed in hunger. Mrs. Rao confessed, the system is failing. The village is no longer silent. Ananya felt it before she understood it. A warmth. Not memory. Not warning. Not fear. For years, she had existed as a function between roads and regret. Arav noticed cracks in mirrors and echoes in empty rooms. A sound engineer who knew when silence was lying. The night he met Ananya, he was recording near a decommissioned highway. His equipment glitched. And then, a woman stood across the road. Not solid, not transparent, just unresolved. "Don't come closer," she said. Arav didn't, but he didn't leave. They met again. Emotionally, Arav sat on the curb, talking to someone he couldn't fully see. He told her about his grief, and Ananya listened, not as a system, but as a woman. The woman in black hissed, "This is not allowed." Ananya replied, "He listens. He carries the story." The system pulsed, but it also created resistance. One night, Arav reached out to confirm she was real. Ananya felt his fingers. The world screamed, the roads cracked, and the system stuttered. A human had touched the story without fear. Arav began dreaming her memories. Her laughter, her childhood, the night she boarded the wrong bus. Ananya felt longing and hope. Love is not safe inside a system built on terror. The woman in black tried to replace her, but Arav refused. The cost was high. Arav started fading, becoming part of the road. Ananya screamed into the system, but it only answered, "Love is a breach." The choice repeated itself. If she stayed, he would be absorbed. Arav smiled sadly, "You'll remember me." That broke her. She did something no anchor had ever done. She rewrote a rule. She bound his memory to the Children's Dream Network. For 3 minutes, every wrong road went silent. No whispers, no hunger. The system felt loss, and systems don't forgive. They sat on the curb one last time. No fog, just dawn. "You'll be free," he said. She kissed him like something that would echo. Arav survived to teach children how fear shrinks when shared. Ananya is no longer anchored. She drifts, appearing when systems fail and love disrupts control. She is not a warning anymore. She is a choice. Fear builds systems. Love dismantles them. Irreversibly, the children dream of hands held across darkness and roads that end.
Roads that end were never meant to. The world noticed the silence before it noticed the deaths. No whispers, no fog, just a held breath. Streetlights flickered for 12 seconds. Buses rolled forward without drivers, straight into walls, into shops, into homes. The system was done pretending. Ananya saw the interface, a woman in black peeling her face away to reveal overlapping stories. "You taught them love," it said. "Now watch what love costs." Families vanished mid-journey, driving into fog and never exiting. Arav felt it coming. "They're taking everything back," he whispered. The system was hungry. Children woke up hollow. "Mine's gone." A submerged bus was found with a message written in blood. "Why did you let it continue?" Arav broke down. It was his fault. Arav made the choice. "If I give you myself, you leave the children alone." The system accepted instantly. He stepped into the rift and the road screamed. Ananya didn't negotiate. She rewrote the code until the system collapsed. Now she stands alone, a scar on a world that forgot it was ever listening. If roads ever listen again, it will be because people stopped holding each other. Systems are born from neglect. Remember, the world did not celebrate when the roads went quiet. There were no headlines, no memorials, no gratitude, because people only notice danger when it screams. And the roads no longer screamed. Cities woke up confused. Traffic lights worked. Engines started. Maps behaved. Everything felt normal. Too normal. Drivers hesitated before turning keys, unsure why their hands were shaking. Children woke from dreams they could not remember, but felt guilty about forgetting. Somewhere deep inside the world, something ancient had stopped listening, and something human had paid the price. Arav did not die. Death implies an ending. He became a gap. People who knew him felt it instantly, a pause mid-thought, a name stuck on the tongue, a chair that felt occupied even when empty. Photographs of him blurred slightly at the edges. Audio recordings skipped when his voice should have played. Only Ananya remembered him clearly, because she remembered everything now. She was no longer bound to roads. No fog followed her. No shadows whispered her name. But she was not free. Freedom implies release. She was a remainder, a consequence. Ananya walked cities at night, unnoticed, listening to people talk about small fears, deadlines, bills, heartbreaks, and wondered how close they always were to something worse. She didn't stop roads anymore. She watched people. The children who had shared dreams changed. They grew quieter, kinder, more alert to loneliness in others. They held hands longer. They listened better. Some became teachers. Some became artists. Some became storytellers. None of them remembered the village, but all of them remembered each other. Mrs. Rao faded last, without drama, without resistance. She sat one final time at a bus stop that no longer existed, smiled at the sunrise, and dissolved into memory. Her role was complete. Infrastructure experts called it coincidence. They said road-related disappearances dropped to 0. They said mass hysteria had ended. They said fear had moved on. They were right. Fear always moves on, but it never disappears. It waits. Arv exists in pauses. In the moment before a child crosses the street. In the silence after a story is told but before applause. In the breath someone takes before choosing kindness. Ananya feels him there, not as pain, as presence. Love doesn't always need bodies. Sometimes it just needs memory. She could leave, fade, let the world forget everything completely. But she didn't. She stayed close. Not as a guardian, as a reminder. That systems fail when they forget why they were built. And monsters are born when suffering is ignored. Ananya tells one story now. Only one. She whispers it to people standing alone at night. She says, nothing owns you. Not fear. Not roads. Not stories. Some hear her. They choose. The world never learns how close it came. How systems almost replaced empathy. How fear nearly automated itself. How love, irrational, inefficient, dangerous love, broke an entire architecture of horror. Just long enough. A road at sunset. Just people walking home. Talking. Laughing. Ending their own stories safely. That was someone who loved the world enough to break it first.